Live from the Washington, D.C. area, it's the Inside Scoop and the Planet. All the ecology news that our viewers want to know. Now, here's your host, Executive Director of the Emerald Planet, Dr. Sam Lee Hancock.
Hello and welcome to the Emerald Planet as we come to you from Washington, D.C. in the United States as we look around the globe in 144 different nations, looking for the 1,000 best practices, the technologies, the services, and the products that are making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And as we head to 2050 and a planet with 9 billion people, how are we going to be able to provide the sanitation and water as well as all the other basic infrastructure that is needed by these new people? As you know, right now, almost 3.5 billion of the 7+ billion on the planet do not have adequate or any sanitation whatsoever, and over 1 billion do not have access to adequate water supplies or even any water on an ongoing basis. And so I have a gentleman sitting right here beside me that actually has been working on this for a number of years and has some fantastic new and proven technologies over many years that they've been improving over time. He's Jeremy Weissman. He is the CEO of EPC Technology Limited. And Jeremy, welcome to the Emerald Planet TV.
Thanks for inviting me.
Glad to have you with us. Tell us a little about what is EPC Technology?
EPC is a company that working already 20 years. I was the founder of the company. I built the company with a vision to serve the customers and not rather than selling them products. We would like to give the customers, our customers, total solution, be very sensitive to their needs and give them a real total solution rather than selling them products.
Well, I know this emphasis on water. If we can come up with this first slide, I would like to share what one of these unit looks like. This is called a bioroby. I'm not sure exactly what a bioroby is, but why such types of systems? And you're trying to make things actually much simpler than what's currently being used with large municipal waste, so that we can establish this is about wastewater treatment and also about having gray water, irrigation water. So how does all this relate together?
Major part of the population in the United States are living out of the cities, and you have at least 24 residential homes that has to be hooked to the septic system or to new wastewater, new package system that we provide one of them. We believe that this system will give a total solution to the contamination of the underground that is being as it being now.
Well, the whole thing about these systems, you have the primary, secondary, tertiary wastewater treatment facilities. Many of the cities now in the United States are mandated to have the tertiary systems, but yet the majority of the cities actually are just getting to those standards. And so much of the water that's going into the rivers and streams may or may not be treated to the highest level. And many of them, as you know, are injecting the water into underground aquifers. So how does your system differ from all these various types of municipal systems you would have here, but also most countries around the globe?
The municipal systems are really large and big, and they have a lot of plus and minuses, but they have a lot of problems getting the secondary and the tertiary stage, and that's why they contaminate. To get to really to a good high quality water, the cost is enormous. And not only that, taking the sewage lines to take a remote area costs so much money that it doesn't make any sense. That's why we come up and offer those on-site systems next to a house rather than deliver them with with a lot of pumps, using a lot of power, using miles and miles of pipes and a lot of pump stations.
Yeah, well, looking at the wastewater system, they say that much of the contamination is actually in the distribution, the network, the grid, if you will. Think of the electrical grid, and now you're doing the same thing underground as far as water and wastewater is concerned, and the leakage seems to be a real issue. So looking at your system, how is it the fact that it's so simple, and at the same time you're using far less energy both to process and to handle than a typical municipal system?
As I told you before, Sam, we have designed the system from the eyes of the end user. We would like to give him a good system with a lot of advantages, such as electricity saving, no water, very simple maintenance. The beauty about the system and the ingenuity of the system is in the simplicity of the system, that everybody can handle it. They don't need any expert to handle it. They don't need any expert even to install it, as a matter of fact. If somebody is handy enough, he can install it by himself.
That is absolutely amazing. So it's almost like the proverbial concept now of plug and play. You take this unit, you put it to the specifications that you have, hook it up, and then it's supposed to be working. And that's what we're looking at right here. Although it looks like you need a very significant piece of equipment to put some of this in.
Yeah, sometimes we need to dig a hole if you would like to have it underground, just to spare the space. The beauty about the system is that the effluent need a very small footprint of discharge area. As a result, you can use the other land either to build a bigger house or to build a second house, but you certainly don't need any more what they call a leach field, which is with a septic system is a quite large space, and with this system you need a very, very small one due to the high quality of the effluent.
Yeah, looking at that, there's much land now because much of the land that actually what they call perk, in other words, allow the water to come out of this and then be absorbed into the ground, has actually already been used, built on, or it may still be in agricultural use. So looking at the elimination of this leach field, how much savings do you have as far as land is concerned? And then also, how long does it take to put in one of these systems?
The system is built as a Lego. Everything is bringing in, ready to use. It's take about 1 day to install it. There is no problem. We don't interrupt any other works on the field. The area that we need for the leach field, or as you said before, the
drain field.
The drain field is about 1/10.
My goodness.
Which means you can use a lot of land on your property rather than use it for treated sewage.
And also this would open up people that are in the development community many more lots right now that you can't build on because they do not perk or not absorb the moisture that comes out of these systems for development. Then.
That's correct. Not only that they can build a 5-bedroom home rather than 2-bedroom home because they don't have enough space.
As far as the leach field is concerned. What is this unit we're looking at right here? We've been looking at all these various components. We see these going in underground. And what is the technology that we're looking at right now?
What we did, we thought different than the others. Instead of ejecting air into the liquid, we take the liquid and inject it to the air. And as a result, we enlarge the surface area of the liquid to absorb oxygen, and we get much higher dissolved oxygen level than any other system. It's a fully aerated system, and that is also one of the reasons that there is no smell, there is no odor. It's safe. There is no need for chemicals. It's a very simple system, and that's why it's good.
Yeah, and the whole thing about elimination of other water, elimination of electricity, but also the chemicals is really important factor as far as climate change and environmental quality. But looking at this water, is this something that you brought in to show our audiences, or is this out of this actual system?
No, it's out of actual system. It's my hand over there, and I'm so certain that the quality is good that I don't afraid to touch it.
Yeah, well, I tell you, it's just incredible. And I know that because of some government regulations, you can use this as what they call gray water for irrigation and taking care of crops and vegetable gardens and those kinds of things.
There is a mixture a little bit. Gray water is only the water from the bathroom. We're treating much more. We are giving solution to the total sewage from the house and get the same quality. And here you see how close it can be to a house. That's about 3 meters, which is
about 9 feet.
9-10
like
feet
that.
from a bedroom.
Now, that's absolutely incredible. Looking at the implications for a large body of water, say like the Chesapeake Bay watershed in the United States, it's highly polluted. Governments are spending millions of dollars every year trying to clean it up. What kind of implications of using this type of system have for cleanup of the Chesapeake Bay or any body of water around the globe?
Sam, that's a very important question. Part of the contamination is nitrate and all kind of chemicals that we inject. As a matter of fact, we inject into the groundwater and the waterway. Our system is capable of eliminating the nitrates to a very, very low level that exceed the demand of the authority as not the authority, the regulatory.
The regulators and the...
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And that's what the importance of the system, and that's how we get there.
Okay, that's absolutely fantastic. Well, this is really very interesting as far as taking care of wastewater and also providing, in a sense, a new source of water for many communities that are drying out, and we're going to be talking about that. But thank you for being with us, Gary Weissman of EPC Technology, as we create the Emerald Planet.
Thanks a lot.
This is firstgov.gov, where we're obsessed with getting you government information.
Brand new student loan applications on the site, baby. This calls for a celebration. Where's your uncle?
So in the end, it was either take the astronaut gig or come work here. What can I say? Duty called.
Dude, that's my cop.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's Sam's cop.
Sorry?
No. Sam's. No.
Just log on or email us and get what you need.
C, change address form. That's how it's done.
D, driver's license renewal.
E, emailing Social Security information.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice, well out. All right, Ed. What are those?
Government surplus cars for auction.
You posted those online last time.
No, you did.
I'm posting them online this time.
For all your government information, firstgov.gov.
Oh, what have we got here? Sometimes you feel tired. You can't seem to lose those extra pounds off your midsection. And your joints hurt when you take the stairs? Well, you're getting older. I'm happy to say that there's some simple things we can do to keep you happy and healthy for years to come. We can also lower your risk for some serious diseases the older population is often subject to. Proper nutrition is more important than ever. Your body has changed, you know. Not as many treats. A basic exercise plan, lots of walks and fresh air, and most importantly, come and see me for twice-yearly checkups to help ensure the best possible quality of life. Now, how does that sound? Good boy.
Improve the quality of life for your elderly pet. Schedule twice-yearly checkups that include preventive care and regular lab work. a message from the veterinary members of the American Animal Hospital Association.
We're back to the Inside Scoop Emerald Planet. Here again, your host, Dr. Sam.
Hello, welcome to the Emerald Planet as we come to you from the United States, looking around the globe in 144 different countries. And as we talked about before, we're looking for the best of the best, the 1,000 best practices. They're going to address the needs of a planet with 9 billion people by 2050. So how are we going to be able to provide all the basic infrastructure, but particularly the water and the sanitation they need to take care of these people across the globe? A globe that's going to see people moving from the countryside into the cities. Over 80% of the world's population of 9 billion are expected to be living in urban areas. But again, that leaves, a huge number of people living in rural areas as well. So how are we going to take care of that? And we have a gentleman who's looking at both of these topics, both water, how do we expand the availability of it, and also wastewater, how we take care of what we're actually using and need to be able to put it back into the earth and to be able to use it on an ongoing basis. This is Jeremy Weissman, who is the CEO, EPC Technology Limited. And Jeremy, welcome to the Emerald Planet TV.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm glad to have you here. And I tell you, this is a topic, this whole thing of dealing with waste water. There's about 3.5 billion, almost half the world's population, that has no access to sanitation. And at the same time, we have a little over 1 billion people do not have access to adequate drinking supply of water. But we keep pushing more and more water, which is a good thing, but we don't tie wastewater to that. So EPC technology, how are you tying these two together? One, we have this huge amount of waste, and secondly, in many areas we're rapidly running out of potable water or any kind of water.
EPC for the last 20 years committed itself to give solution for the needs of communities and individuals by providing a system that is friendly, very easy to maintain, and provide you with the portable, not portable, I wouldn't say, it's not allowed to say portable, almost portable, but it's provide irrigation water that can replace the potable water that people are using when there is a lack of sanitation.
Yeah, and the whole thing is in many more affluent or developed countries, we're using billions of gallons of water for food production, as you know, but also golf courses, yards. I mean, there's literally millions of acres of just yards through much of North America and many countries overseas. And so this really is an alternative to using this potable water, as you're saying, which is becoming more and more expensive. So looking at your system, how do you balance this availability, taking care of the environment, but also actually providing savings to the citizens, either take care of their own water or water within their own community?
What we're offering community to really take responsibility, handle their own sewage, either by collection or individuals, and then has the benefit of using it for irrigation for their own benefit. Plus, the system provides good technology that needs a very, very low maintenance fee, very low maintenance parts, very, very low maintenance work. So it's really friendly to a community. So I urge every community really to take responsibility, and if they want the water, some doesn't want to handle anything, they just want that Sam will give them everything, but it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, well, governments are being stretched more and more to be able to take care of something, particularly in the wastewater, because you've got hundreds of miles of underground lines that must be maintained. Many of them, some of these lines go back 150, 200 years. They have to be replaced. And so what you have is a system that really is bringing people off grid. When I say off grid, it's like removing themselves through solar and wind, renewable energy, and now they can add the waste and the sanitation to that. Why would people in not just rural areas, because there's many people living in urban areas that are wanting to get off the grid, so if the power goes down, they continue to be able to provide for their family or people within their local community?
It's much more cheaper and it's much more effective to, as you say, to get off the grid. It gives them as a sort of independence, and they can irrigate whenever they want. They can irrigate as much as they want, and they are not dependent on any city officer that tell them what to do.
We were talking with a colleague of mine, actually has been on the Emerald Planet. This is one of the largest almond, pistachio, and walnut farmers in the Imperial Valley of California. And you're saying in his particular community, there's about, I think it was 3 billion gallons of water.
3 million gallons a day.
That is an incredible amount of water that would be available if they had this alternative system. So if you look at that, just looking at one country, the United States, I mean, that's really hundreds of billions of gallons of water on a day-to-day basis that be available to use. So how do people move to that when people are already, in most cities, you have to be part of the grid, the online system for sanitation?
You said you have. They have because the official doesn't want to really to think and to give them the permission to handle themselves. They always said, listen, for us it's much more easy to have big line, long line, big facilities, and then they lose the water. The place where I come from, Israel, we use about over 80% of the sewage, of the wastewater, we use for irrigation. Now here, I don't think that you got over 30% yet. And that's because...
and I would be surprised if we actually had that higher percentage,
right.
But we'll have to look into
I would like to be optimistic.
Yes, okay, thank you.
And unless people will really take one step ahead and will say, I'm taking responsibility, nothing will happen.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing about responsibility is something that's important. And as we move through the 21st century, really things are coming back to distributive everything. Distributive power, electricity, distributive water. I mean, all of this where people are more and more taking care of it in their own local communities. And it could be street by street or community by community. But going to the technology, you're injecting, I think you're taking the waste to the air instead of air into the waste, and you're increasing dissolved oxygen. What is dissolved oxygen, and how does that help and take care of the situation for waste?
The oxygen is a vital component in the process of purifying wastewater. You need as much oxygen as possible in order to help the bacteria to digest the organic matter, which you call the waste. Now, the more, let me phrase it differently. If you have high level of dissolved oxygen, which means water dissolves the oxygen in order to enable those bacteria to work, the higher is the efficiency. Now, we achieve it by thinking the opposite than everybody. We do not inject air to the water, we inject the water into the air. And that's how we spread the water, get a large surface, and that's how we get the high level of dissolved oxygen.
Now, looking at this equipment we have in front of us, tell us what we're seeing right here, Jeremy, and what's the importance and how is this different than the typical metropolitan system?
What you see here, it's an RVC technology that was, it is almost 100 years old, the technology. We invent the engine and the driven, all the driven parts, so there will be no failure like there was in the 80s. And it's so safe that there is no failure at all. We operate these systems over 20 years, almost 22 years already, and we don't have any failure yet.
That's incredible. So 100% availability of the service.
And we predicted that they will work another 30 years. With proper maintenance, at least 30 years.
So this is a 50-year life as far as the system is concerned. And it looks very small and compact. What would area or what number of homes would this take care of in this type of facility?
This system, for example, will take care of 400 families. 400
families. So you're talking about a fairly small community.
Yes.
It could be within a city area, or it could be in the rural areas as well.
Yeah. We talk here about 45 by 45 feet.
That's the total size of this plant.
Yeah.
That's incredibly small for that number of people.
The footprint is very small.
Now, looking at this type of equipment, this is different than the ones that you've developed for, at-home use. So, what is the average maintenance cost for this type of facility for the 400 families?
The maintenance cost is really very low. The electricity is tremendous low. It's about 1/10 of any other, the consumption of electricity is 1/10 of any other equivalent system. The parts are only considered to be about 1% of the total cost of the system per year versus 8 to 12% with other systems. Mm-hmm. And the need of people to come, the man hours, we don't need more than one every week, that somebody will come there, will see that everything is fine.
Oh, that's absolutely incredible. That's wonderful. Looking at where you're going in the future, where does EPC technology see itself in, say, the next 5, 10, 15 years? And we need about 30 seconds.
We're going to establish an operation in the state, and we think that the market is really huge. We talk about hundreds of systems per year.
Hundreds of systems per year.
At least.
That is absolutely incredible, and this is something that's very needed, again, to balance the wastewater and the water, and that's something that's very important. Well, we've just run out of time. This has been absolutely fantastic. I'm going to go back to this image right here. We'll leave out with that. But this is Jeremy Weissman, who is the CEO of EPC Technology Limited, and talking about dealing with wastewater and increasing the amount of water in communities as we look around the globe through Emerald Planet, as we create the Emerald Planet.
Too many women get hit by their boyfriends and husbands. Too many women are pressured into having unprotected sex. Half of the people in the world living with AIDS are women. It doesn't have to be this way. Together, we can change this reality. Let's strive for a world free of violence.
At Volunteers of America, we don't just give kids a way to stay off the streets. We give them the tools they need to reach their full potential. We don't just help the elderly receive needed care. We help them live life to the fullest. We don't just provide food for homeless individuals and families. We provide job training and placement so they can buy groceries. Volunteers of America is a national organization that for over 100 years has provided programs and services that allow people to overcome their challenges to become vital members of their community. At Volunteers of America, we don't just help people, we help people help themselves. Find out how you can support the programs that are working in your community. Contact Volunteers of America today. Call 1-800-899-0089.
Drivers face all kinds of distractions.
Stop playing.
Before your wireless phone becomes one of them, stop. Drive safely. Keep your phone in easy reach and dial sensibly. In bad weather or traffic, call later and use a hands-free device. Remember, with wireless, safety is your call.
We're back to the Inside Scoop Emerald Planet. Here again, your host, Dr. Sam.
Hello and welcome to the Emerald Planet as we come to you on a weekly basis from Washington, D.C. in the United States as we're looking around the globe for those really game changers that are helping citizens as we add another 2 billion people to the planet to take care of what we're calling to break the cycle of infectious diseases. And one of those, of course, is malaria, and then related to that is yellow fever, dengue, and a number of other diseases being carried by mosquitoes and any blood-sucking insects. And yet we're spending billions of dollars on a year-to-year basis, and yet up to maybe as many as 3 million people are dying on an annualized basis. And a child in Africa every 30 seconds is lost to malaria. Not only that, but the other what they call neglected tropical diseases. And we have a very simple solution that we found through Emerald Planet. The gentleman that's coming on by Skype, his name is David Pearce. He's acting as a business development consulting for a chemical company called Pulcra Chemicals down in North and South Carolina. And they have a product called Skintex MR3, which is the first malaria vector that actually kills mosquitoes. So David and I have been talking with all the powers to be within this organization about knock dead first and knock down as far as mosquitoes and other blood-sucking insects. And I have Jeremy Weissman, who is the CEO of EPC Technology, sitting right here as our special guest. But David, welcome as you come in by Skype. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Well,
good to see you.
Good to see you. You and I talk almost on a day-to-day basis about this terrible scourge called malaria. But tell us a little bit about the company and the origin of the Skintex MR3, but the chemical company itself, Pulcra Chemicals.
Yeah, Pulcra is a world-class company in 14 countries with 100+ years of specialty chemical textiles experience. And what we're specifically talking about in this stable of products is the Skintex active skincare products, and that's a globally owned trademark of Pulcra. Skintex MR3 is a groundbreaking technology, and it's the only EPA-registered number microencapsulated permethrin, system of permethrin. Microencapsulated is the key here. Then we built what we call the Skintex MR3 cover. What makes this a unique vector tool is, people need access to it so they can fight insect-borne diseases.
Well, I tell you, it's just incredible because it's something it's so profound at one hand, and the other is so simple. It's a blanket. And so you've taken a blanket as a delivery system, and it's just like Jeremy sitting here with me, and we're talking about, wastewater, and 3.5 billion people don't have access to sanitation, and over a billion without water. He has a very simple system. Of course, that's what Emerald Planet's all about, to identify this. But having a blanket that actually kills mosquitoes, it's something it can't get much simpler than that. So why the blanket, and who came up with this idea of the blanket, versus say the mosquito netting or other kinds of delivery systems?
Sure, it started about 10 years ago, and again, it's the overriding model is not everybody has a net, not everybody has a home, not everybody has insecticidal residual spraying, but everyone has a blanket. So when you just look at the simplicity of it, and it becomes this beauty of science technology is in the simplicity of the application. So you just take this super modern staple fiber material, patented. You take this patented Skintex MR3, you run it through a proprietary manufacturing system, and now you've created a shelter tool. So where you're talking 50 million people today are displaced, be it by war or by a natural disaster, they're transient, and they have every day is a demand on water, food, and shelter. And this is a natural model to come in to say, here's a shelter product. That this is what this can do. And it has all these other benefits. The bigger thing in vector control to try and understand is we've now lost an entire generation of children.
That's a very profound statement.
Insects.
Yeah, that's a very profound statement. What is we're using this term vector, and I've mentioned it maybe 3 or 4 times. You've come up with it. What is a vector?
Well, vector control is a method to limit or eradicate disease-carrying insects that infect humans. So that's where the net comes into play. The first real model was that we'll, with speed and efficiency, bring nets across, the vector control part of the world. It takes a village. It takes, everybody's got to come together here. It's got to be the net, and it's got to be the blanket, and it's got to be other vector tools, and it takes us all to make this work. It's too big a challenge.
I want to bring up this image here. We've not brought up some of the slides you provided, but I like this image that you have here, that this is actually the little hanging tag, as they call it, on the blanket. And what is this image you're trying to portray? Because this is something that you've really branded as an international product. Again, something very simple, like a blanket. But what are we trying to get across to people around the globe about this through this very simple image?
Well, again, the idea is that the technology is the microencapsulates burst when the mosquito or the insect lands on it. Just by natural use, you've got a burst of permethrin onto the material, and that's creating a, let's call it, a hot foot scenario for a mosquito or an insect to come and land on. And then you've got the mosquito or the insect trying to probe through the material to bite you, and that is bursting more of the microencapsulation, and that's the whole idea. The World Health Organization calls the testing scenario knock dead or knock down.
Yeah, I want to bring up this image here with a mother and her baby, because as you travel around the globe like I do, I've been in 84 countries now, this is a very normal scenario that you see as people out working in the fields, or they're going about their business in their own local community or heading off to their community of faith. But what you're doing, instead of a mosquito net where you have to be in essence in bed or around your table to take advantage of it, you take your blanket absolutely everywhere. And I think this is the emphasis, David, that you've talked about, is that people may not have the house, they may not have the spraying going on in their community, but literally one thing that people have, they will have a blanket or several of those.
That is correct, and you're looking at a product where, what we're seeing here is, what every mother wants to do with her child, which is take care of the child. So it doesn't matter if you're a soccer mom here or anywhere, and any mother wants to do this with her child. And what we've taken is the technology of the material. That blanket weighs 13 ounces. It will not absorb water. It dries fast. And now we've put the Skintex MR3 to it. And again, we've created a technology tool that we think is, in the simplicity of it, this is what the microencapsulants look like when they're being bound to the staple fiber material. And there's absolutely millions of them. And when you first start using it, these break, and they coat the material. And then as the mosquitoes trying to probe through, I don't know if you have one more slide to show the mosquitoes probe. Yeah, right here. You see the microencapsulants that have been laid onto the probe. These are bursting. This is what's creating this either knock dead or knock down. The challenge you have is a mosquito wants to feed, and it's amazing what, this is thousands upon thousands of years of, in a tiny nanonite of technology where this insect is trying to feed. And here's what we're putting up is a stop.
Yeah, a barrier to that. Jeremy, why don't you ask the next question?
Hi, David.
Hi, Jeremy.
It's really, I'm very happy to hear that it's a very simple product, because simple is the name of the game. But can you explain us how does the Skintex MR3 mosquito and blood-sucking insects, as you call it, knock-dead blanket, actually work?
Yeah, that's what we were looking at in those last 2 slides right there. The system of permethrin is encapsulated, which is making it durable and long-lasting. And when this mosquito hits that microencapsulant, first it has to get through the hot foot character of the permethrin field that's already laying on the material. Then it breaks these microencapsulants. It's getting a burst of permethrin, which is being thrown right up into the body of the mosquito. And that's, this is where you're looking at the probe going down into the material, and you can see the hydroentanglement of the material. It's multi-challenging to the insect to land on the product, to feed through the product, to bite through the product, and that's what this is all about. Knock down, knock dead, bite through. That's what all the testing standards are created about, and what you're seeing here is like we're saying, the beauty of science technology, and it's the simplicity of its application. We have world-class, brilliant people that have put this together, and our job now is to get it to those people who need it.
Well, it's absolutely fantastic. Looking at the testing, we're almost out of time, David, but I know you've gone through WHO, World Health Organization, Department of Defense in the United States, and also with the European Union. So you have all this testing. So out of that, what is it emphatically that you can say to people in about 30 seconds about the importance of this and how it is a game changer?
Sure, this slide right here, you're showing a test where this is considered more severe than real world. It's toxicologically tested and is deemed safe for human contact by clinical dermal trial. This is a test that they run. This shows many, many landings of mosquitoes with 0 bites. So what we will hope is the growth, there's going to be a large growth of products to help control and eradicate insect and spread of disease. What we're hopeful is that the Skintex MR3 cover vector tool.
We're going to lose you, David. I'm sorry. This is David Pearce of the Skintex MR3 as we create the Emerald Planet.
One day these rats were playing in the woods. One of some matches and that's no good. Listen to smoke before you give it a try. Only you. Don't play with matches. Don't play with fire. There's nothing very only about 3,000, nothing very nice, only smile. So if a gorgeous force is what you desire, don't play with matches, don't play with fire. Yeah.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Fire!
Why don't you just wash your car at home?
I wash my car, everything runs down to the street and down into the storm drains. With all the chemicals and the soaps and the waxes, the last thing I want to do is poison my own drinking water.
At least here, it's all contained and recycled on site.
That's why I also take the car in for oil changes instead of doing it myself. I might take a chance on spilling stuff.
You know what the best part is? What? More time to kick back and watch the game.
How far would you go to protect the planet?
I want you to build an ark.
Here we go! Okay, that's good. Oh, okay.
Maybe there's another way.
People! The flood is imminent! Is it too much to ask for a little precipitation?
Go to fakeglobalwarming.com to find out what you and your community can do to reduce global warming pollution.
Somewhere around the world, there are men and women of the armed forces risking their lives, helping rebuild communities after natural disasters, collecting toys for needy children, tutoring kids in school. These are your sons and daughters who work to keep us safe, secure, and free. Dedicated men and women who put their country first.
We're back to the Inside Scoop Emerald Planet. Here again, your host, Dr. Sands.
Hello and welcome to the Emerald Planet as we come to you from Washington, D.C. in the United States as we look around the globe in 144 different nations. I'm Dr. Sam Hancock, the President, Executive Director of Emerald Planet and Director and host of the Emerald Planet TV. We come to you on a weekly basis to bring you what we call the best of the best technologies, the services, and the products that really are making a difference in the lives of literally billions of people around the globe. And so as we look for these new technologies, we're trying to find things that are very simple, inexpensive, and readily available to the public. And so we talk about a number of different very available technologies. And we're going to be talking to a gentleman that we're moving into an area as far as easy to use and a very clean cooking stove. This is one of the problems in many countries, particularly a country like Haiti, but many others as well, where you're using charcoal and eliminating entire forest to provide a cooking, lighting, and heating for citizens regardless of where they live on the planet. And so this is a very innovative technology that we've just been recently introduced to. This is Warren Klein, who is the partner and engineering vice president, and the organization is called the Classic Global Energy LLC. And then sitting right beside me is our special guest that's here with us, Jeremy Weissman, who's CEO of EPC Technology. And Warren's coming into us by telephone. And Warren, welcome to the Emerald Planet.
Thank you for having me on your program. It'll certainly be exciting.
Well, we're glad to have you. And this is actually a photograph, so he's coming by telephone. So we're looking at his image here, so if you don't see his lips move, that's the reason for that. But Warren, tell us a little bit about the why and the how of this new stove that you've actually created, and it's fueled by something which I find very interesting. It's something that many people consider dangerous, but also it's a wasted resource, and this is what's called coal dust. Coal dust, of all things, in a stove to be used in developing countries. Tell us about this.
This project started as a result of the need to provide an energy source for those people around the world without a reliable, easy-to-operate cooking stove, and to provide a way to produce safe drinking water on a daily basis. We use a very fine coal particle and bond them and compress them into small pellets. And these are burned in an air-efficient cook stove that produces no smoke and it produces no unburned products in the air.
Well, I tell you, that's something that's very important, because as you travel around the globe, you'll see literally billions of homes, people cooking and using cow dung. They're using wood that's been cut from forest around their homes, and many other sources. But you don't really think about taking a coal dust and producing that into a very useful product, because coal dust, as you know, is very dangerous to the miners. It's even a danger to the environment. But it sounds like you've been able to create something where that you can actually use that but eliminate the heavy particulate that's released inside the home itself.
Correct. In our case, the coal is burned with what we call under air coming up through the fine grate to provide a combustion source for the fuel. And then there's over air introduced into the hot air stream above the fuel. This over-air completes the combustion process by burning all gases and making the stove very efficient. Our system uses exclusively coal fines, and generally those are responsible for the dust acid mines and are a major contributor to mine explosions, which are the result of coal mines, methane gas, and air. So we're trying to take that process and by compressing and burning at a slow, even pace, create a steady heat for 45 minutes to an hour and allow the stoves to work, and possible use of thermoelectric generators and charge small batteries and provide generation of electric where needed.
I tell you, it's incredible that you can take something that's this simple. It's been around and a danger for centuries, and you're turning it into a very useful product. And as we go to a planet with 9 billion people, we need to be doing more and more of this as far as innovation, but taking things that are very simple, inexpensive, and easily transported. But Jeremy's here with me, and he's going to ask the next question, Warren. And again, welcome to Emerald Planet.
Hi, Warren. This is Jeremy.
Yes, sir.
I'm very happy to see that you invented or you've developed a very simple product, and I think that's the answer to a lot of problems in the world, but I'm very concerned about the safety. Can you tell us about the safety and the use of the stove? How are these different from, say, wood burning stove, and why are these better, and how they are safer?
Okay, we spent quite a bit of time on the design and decided to use stainless steel for these stoves. That stainless steel is a more expensive steel, but it also has characteristics where it does not pass heat through itself easily. So the heat is concentrated in the combustion area and moved up through the top of the stove for heating. You can actually touch the sides of our stoves and not be burned while it's at full burn. Also, as I said earlier, we add air, the burning comes from the bottom there and through the sidewall above the pellet. These air inlets are actually calculated to allow a maximum flow through to the pellets to control the rate of burn. Thus, the coal can't explode or produce a lot of flame. It's actually a slow, steady burn over 45 minutes to an hour.
I think this is really wonderful, Warren, what you're doing, and part of our Rotary International program through the Rotary Club of Washington, D.C., we work with a system of burn hospitals across Latin America. And there's an incredible number, over 7 million children a year are burned a little to severe, 7 million, and over 50,000 deaths of children come from what they call open flame. And what it looks like in the stove, the images that you shared with us, Warren, is that everything is closed, but the flame itself is enclosed. And as you said, it's a very clean burning system. Tell us a little more about this and why focus on coal as the heat source for this when many countries are actually moving away from coal as the fuel of choice.
Well, if we go back to the older wood stoves, in most areas where wood is used, there's a blue smoke haze that's fairly noxious. And that's a result of incomplete combustion and problems of moisture in the wood and different types of wood being used at the same time. So we decided to use coal that's been in a product that's been mined for a long time, and it's still a predominant source of electric and heat here in the U.S. So our pellet actually produce 2 to 3 times the amount of heat as wood can on a pound basis. So to cook, say, 2 meals per day would require about 30 pounds of pellet in a month. whereas you would need as much as 100 pounds of wood to do the same thing, and possibly even more, depending on how you cook. If it's even in an open fire, it'll be much, much more wood than that.
Looking at the involvement on the Emerald Planet, we're always looking at trying to create more green jobs and bring employment into local communities across the 214 countries and territories where we share the Emerald Planet TV. So what about distribution and also manufacturing of these stoves within these local communities?
I think that's entirely possible. The design is such that they can be shipped in flat pieces and then easily assembled at the country of use. So we plan on having distributors in each country that can employ the local people to put the stoves together and actually deliver them and provide the distribution source for the fuel. Hopefully that will be an easy project for them to handle. And in the case of places where there is manufacturing, we can certainly work with them to be able to provide the parts.
Well, that's fantastic. Jeremy, why don't you ask the next question? We have to be quick on this one.
Okay. One last one. Tell us more about your source of coal. Why were these sources selected? And can you use local coal sources in countries with a supply of coal?
Certainly, we spent a long time trying different coals and qualities from across the U.S. And settled on a very low sulfur, very low ash coal from the Wyoming area. We found that small increases in sulfur were noticeable, and higher ash coals tended to vary in heat content. Consistency is what makes our stove work so well. In the case of foreign mines, surely there are other coals that will match up to this fact, and we can certainly provide employment to the mines to supply us coal in these countries.
All right, we're absolutely run out of time. 10 seconds, what do you see for the future of your company?
I'm hoping that we can work with the several agencies of the UN and even in the countries that want these stoves, to be able to provide the stoves to the needing people, and we'll have a supply for fuel for use in water cleaning and cooking. Okay,
thank you, Warren, and thank you for being with us with your stove. And Jeremy, thank you for being with us. It's been a great pleasure.
Thank you for hosting us.
And thank you to everyone for being with us on the Emerald Planet as we create the Emerald Planet.